Bangalore, the whole campus is like dedicated to the digital the digital part of design.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into D-Education. So this is a platform wherein I bring different designers from different aspects to talk about their design education and how their design education has shaped them into better designers. We have a really special friend today. Hi Mandar, welcome to D-Education.
Hi Ravi, nice to be here. What's
So
up?
Mandar, how's your day going?
Oh my God, nice question. It's long. It's Sunday, so fortunately I woke early, but the day is too long. Been reading a bit nowadays, so yeah, that's new. That's it.
That's wonderful, Mandar. So if
Yeah.
you could give a brief about yourself to our viewers out there.
Sure, absolutely. So, hi everyone, I'm Mandar Chaudhari. I am a interaction designer. In my previous life, I was a graphic designer from Symbiosis. Currently, I work for Walmart Global Tech, and like my by night, I work as a caricature artist. I like throughout my tenure at various places where I worked, I have been acting as various thinking hats, as Dibuno placed. Uh, my interests, as like we will talk about later, they lie in like conquering more and more skills, gathering my thinking about different types of mindsets people have in design and non-design. And yeah, that's pretty much about me. So
That's
nice to
wonderful,
be here again.
Mandar. So basically,
Yeah.
you have like two degrees in design, one from Symbiosis and one you're currently doing from NID
Yeah,
Bangalore.
yeah, I'm an NID Bangalore. Yeah.
So basically, how does this two things has happened and how was your journey into design? What made you pursue design?
Okay, so like as like any designer starts this journey with a flip of a coin in his mind, right? So mine started slightly earlier after 12th standard. So like I had like it's not new. I just had a good interest in drawing. I would say it's just drawing, nothing that I had. And like my sister was super supportive, like, man, like try something new, go to this field. I actually got to know about design after NID ka form filling was done, so I had only few options to go in BDES. So I went for Symbiosis because it was in Pune and it had a really beautiful culture. And that's how I wouldn't say that it was a mindful choice, but something that I did on the spot. Post that, those were like the most like beautiful years of my life, all four of them, when I was studying graphic design. So always a fan of visuals I was, and hence I chose graphic design out of all the menu card of disciplines that they provide. And after that, I worked here and there, started working from second year itself, like went about the city, saw who all needs a graphic designer, tried to learn, worked unpaid also, sometimes. And after that, after spending like a considerable time in this industry of visual design, I got to know that there's a broader aspect to design also, which like deep dive into design thinking, which is something way beyond the beautification and aesthetics of it. And hence I tried talking to a lot of people with different mindsets in and around India. Okay, what is your perception, what is the future, how to gain an edge, how to solve real problems, how to solve like these socio-technical problems that exist today, which are not just regarding visuals, it's about behavior. So that's how I got to know about something called as interaction design, which today is diluted by UI and UX, I would say. And and hence like I actually got a job in UX way before I applied into NID, but thought about doing it the right way. I mean, it's there's obviously no right way to do it. It was just my mindset that okay, let's learn it, let's spend 2 more years into design, just finish off with the education and all. So went to NID, had like another set of beautiful years there, came out as an interaction designer, still exploring stuff. So I don't have any expert advice on that front. So yeah, that's how it all went on.
That's wonderful, Mandar. So let's talk about your journey or your aspect from NID life so that you could
Okay.
bring in some greater points so that people could get inspired. And so how was your process while you applied for NID and what made you choose only specifically go with interaction design, and what was your rank and all that aspects, if you could share?
Like just why interaction design is because, so my mindset at when I was applying into for a master's college was, first of all, not graphic design, because yeah, I've had that. Like that's something that, and you cannot build much on that, like, apart from getting real life experience. So what was next best? I mean, what is it that, like, let's do an affair with design. Love, you have a true love, let's try to develop another one. And yeah, I talked to some good design leaders in our country, Indian good designers. So most of them, I saw a pattern that they were shifting their focus to, like, from analog to digital, like as we are progressing towards these digital economy. And there are a lot of domains in our real lives which are taking like drastic turns, like say suppose finance, right? There was a time where we used to like count cash and give it to the shopkeeper, but there has been a significant revolution in that area. Now it's like we don't need a wallet, right? It's all in that small device that we have with us. And that's fascinating. And like one of my mentors explained it to me like this. And yeah, so then I started figuring out, is there a way to shift to slightly technical area of design? Like can we explore the digital domain more? And after that, I found like couple of disciplines, not just interaction design, couple of disciplines all over India which offer courses like these. So I applied everywhere, by the way. So I got into NID, and I had two options. There's interaction design, there's one more in Gandhinagar. But yeah, I went with this because I like the other campuses. They are the culture there is different, because, and in Bangalore, NID Bangalore, the whole campus is like dedicated to the digital I mean the digital part of design, most of it. So the culture here was slightly different than that. So I went for interaction design. And if we talk about experience after coming to NID, slightly bumpy ride it was, I must say. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I was actually placed with it. Was a very, what do you say? The composition of our batch was very diverse. I mean, we were 15 people. There were architects, there were designers, there were engineers, there were fashion designers. There was a chemical engineer amongst us who was a very interesting person. And like these psychologists also, they just come, they just bring something new to the table. And like I thought that, okay, I in my previous life I was a designer, I might do good. But that's not actually the case, because it's all about bringing something new to the table, right? And that's where I my learning started. Like there are people who think in a really different way. I mean, they are not in the what do you say, the queue of design thinking at all. They are like completely radical thinking people, right? So this radical thinking is something that I developed in these 2 years. I don't say that I really can't build good wireframes. I'm not good at the placement of icons, hamburger menu. No, I still can't do that. Like 5 years into design, I still don't know how to do that. But there is something more to it, right? Like pushing the paradigm of existing design practices. How can we think beyond screen? How to design where there is no screen, right? So those aspects I tried to learn. So yeah, that's how it is. Like that's how the ride goes. Still exploring. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Mandar. And NID Bangalore is the only school that offers interaction design among all other NIDs, right?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
That's really wonderful and great explanation you did in terms of radical and thinking outside box and designing out of screens, and pursuing digital design course and imbibing those skills is really crazy, I would say.
Yeah.
Understanding that perspective on a higher ecosystem. So let's talk about the journey inside. Like if you could just give us a high level of your bumpy ride over these 2 years, what else stuff that
Okay.
you did, your memorable experiences, the faculty, the other mentors that you met over there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it all starts with the foundation, right? I mean, any design course, it starts with the foundation. Like all of them, like just like bunched in a single classroom, irrespective of the walls and the like whatever discipline they are. So it was an amazing experience. Like people were slightly insecure, some were super overconfident, and some were pets, some were like the likes of mine. I don't remember like most of the foundation. I really don't remember. So because I knew like this attendance thing doesn't work right in design. I mean, You go, you take the brief, you go somewhere else, you just get out of the class, you work, you come back. So people were looking at me like this person is like from some another planet. There were a couple of more designers who with me. I mean, who completed their UG. They're from really nice, insightful people. They were from Srishti. Some were from MIT, and like there are a couple of more colleges in Ahmedabad. So these were also very much aware, I would say, about the culture. I don't know about design, but the culture, and got to learn a lot from them. So I made a really nice set of friends in NID, and the journey with them, like it was like really cool. So one had his own startup before coming to NID, and he actually sold his share of the startup to pay the fees. So that's something bold, right? I mean, interesting. Yeah, and he was also in interaction design. He was a computer engineer. And so what happened in the first jury that we had, right? Jury is like the summation of a semester. We both, like, this is my name is Mandar, his name is Prashant. So M and P, we come in a line, right? One after another in the jury, roll number wise. So we both got thrashed in a jury. Like, you guys are extremely slack, relaxed, super relaxed, don't care about stuff. I mean, it's not that our work was bad. They thought that you can do a lot more. So it's the comparison, right? I mean, the competition is with yourself. If you're already good in some stuff and you're not going ahead, it doesn't matter whether the work is good or not. It's about the progress that you've achieved. It's about your milestones that you set. And in terms of that, others were really good. I mean, they came to a significantly amazing level from where they started. So yeah, the first jury was like the first bump, I would say. And trust me, there are 4 juries every master's person gives in NID, none of which was good. None of which was, literally none of which was good. Neither for me, neither for my friend. And so here's how it went on. In my second jury, same feedback. You could have done much better. But there was a slight change in terms of my mindset. So now I was thinking more radical. I wouldn't say out of box. I would say like the the vision or the outlook to see a problem or to see design was greatly influenced and changed. And that's something you need to remember when you go to any design college. No, skills could be developed. You can learn any software after you go. I mean, you can learn those all cool animations. You know how to build these super amazing, like these wireframes, how to play them, how to create beautiful prototypes. Mindset takes a lot of work to get developed. I mean, if someone says, okay, I have a business, right? I have a business, I need to make an app for that, application for that. Yeah, so what he's expecting from us is not an app. He's expecting a solution to his problem, a solution which is business and user centric. So there's a strategy in play. There are a lot of other aspects, like there's business, there's user, there's finance, there's feasibility, then MVP. This word is like, this is a sucker. MVP is a sucker for every UX designer. And yeah, when these all come together, then you can finally start to play. There your exploration and design starts. And I think to get accustomed to these concepts is something is a point where I think the design education should begin, or began for me. So yeah, that was it. And how should I say, I actually got to know a lot more about interaction design or design in itself. So what happens when you are into industry, you get a job, you explore that particular domain. Then when you get chance, you explore others, you explore a parallel department that goes in. But the plus point of design education, what I saw was, I got aware of multiple things. So that horizontal breadth, like being a jack of all trades, is something that a design college makes it like easier for you. I knew that, okay, there's this UX that deals with screens, then there's voice UX, then there is tangible UX. So there are these 3 types of things, like tangible design, tangible user interfaces, then voice user interfaces, then I don't know, various other modalities. So yeah, this is something that I got to, like, awareness level, like it's like hiked a lot in an idea. Other than that, I don't think I've changed much.
That's wonderful, Mandar. So, in terms of the feedback thing that you mentioned and How does it influence you in after, like right now you completed your graduation also? So how
Yeah.
does this curve of feedback has improved you into a better designer?
Uh, this is actually a good question. Thanks for asking. So once you get thrashed again and again, criticized brutally, like you go in a big pond, like a samandar, I would say it's a sea as a small fish, right? You like when you go there now, you get criticized by many big fishes. There are there are like a lot of people who have diverse 360 degrees zenithal feedback that they offer, and once you get to, I mean, it's an iterative process, and once you get in love with those feedbacks, right, to get criticized, that's somewhere I would love to like put myself. So I constantly got criticized, constantly got thrashed, like, I mean, snapped at. I don't know, like there are a lot of other adjectives there, things that came into play. What happened is, due to this I started loving the problem. I mean, every design, the success of a design is measured by the setting of the problem. I would say the nicer, the more you get in love with the problem, the smoother your design is, the better your design is. So that is something that I developed in these 2 years, like getting in love with the problem, like romance the problem. I would say, like, know it more, spend time with the problem. Don't start getting like on what do you say, the designing phase immediately. Understand the problem, approach it from the different angles. So that's something that I learned from NID. And it's not a direct teaching, by the way. I mean, you cannot just, okay, they said that, okay, know the problem, you learn that. It's not like that. You have to extract that particular skill or mindset from what they give you. And the beautiful thing about our college is that we get exposed in front of a lot of other industry design, like leaders and designers. Not just them, like other people from extremely creative background, like liberal arts, or people who are sociologists, who are anthropologists. So these people also, they have a different way of solving problems. We apply design process. These people taught me that you can apply culture to solve problems also. So not every time you need to have a high tech solution to stuff. You can definitely have a cultural change, a behavioral change. So that's something. See, that's what now it's all being aware of things, not getting deep into one. So that's, I think that's something that education at NID for me was.
Thank you, Mandar. So let's talk about the faculty or the alumni network or the mentors that you have met over there.
Oh, okay. So right now our dean Mamta Rao. So she's a like amazing person in terms of what is it? I don't know. I don't have the credibility to define her talents. So it's she has a what do you say, a way of looking at student work. So whenever we take different briefs to her, okay, I want to do my project in this domain, it's not necessary that she'll be like the guru of everything, right? No one can know everything in this world, but there is she has a style. I mean, all the faculty in NID, they have a style that, okay, this person has got a brief. I mean, he wants to do his project in this particular thing. How can we make life difficult for this person and make him, what do you say, push through it and give some, like, provide a design outcome which is beyond his or her imagination. So that's something NID faculty is expert in. They just, no matter what this person is designing, he has to, like, what do you say, reach beyond his expectation, like not the faculties, his own expectations in a particular project.
But in terms of
That's
like this alumni network, like was it like useful for you to get in terms of internship or get a
yeah.
guidance in that
uh
terms?
Not really. So I don't know the general experience of people, but I entered the industry during the COVID times where there was this hiring freeze. So I don't know if it helped me get an internship, but it definitely, I don't know. I mean, so if you have an alumni at your workplace, right? NID alumni at your workplace, he knows, yeah, this person has learned this much. There's a very interesting factor to this. So we have this alumni discussion with people like everywhere. I mean, they are on Instagram, they are like, they just come to college. We invite them for their, like, for guest lectures to present their projects. So they tell us what not to do, and instead of telling us what to do, because all of them, the mindset of a designer, I would say, is like, okay, I'm still learning, I'm still not expert at anything, so that I would advise this person to do the same, right? So jab bhi someone comes, he's like, okay, don't do that. When you say, then what should I do? It's like, no, don't do that. Stuff like that, right? So
But
yeah,
that's
I'm so
a wonderful point that you mentioned in terms of like faculty and even alumni pushing on a positive way
yeah.
to make you reach to a greater extent. That's a really incredible thing that we haven't heard before in any of the episodes of de-education. So thanks,
No, I
Mandar.
mean, that's the point. I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, okay, you know that I want to make a radio. Suppose I'm designing a radio. What is it about a radio that you want to make that is not already there? So does it mean that you create a new structure of a radio? No. Get into the problem. What does a radio do? Does is even a radio required to provide that functionality? You need to think or like throw stuff at it. Yeah, that's something that I got to know. Yeah.
That's great, Mandar. So let's talk about the economics, like in terms of fee, your hostel life, and all that dynamics towards the economic.
Yeah. So obviously, like NID, it's a lot of design education is not like, cheap in India. I get that, but I don't know how to answer this or how to talk about it. A lot of people did like take loans, or some of them did self finance themselves, because I think I was like the youngest person in NID. I mean, in my whole batch of 150 students, I was the youngest. So all others had jobs before, so they knew how to apply for loans, how to do that. I just asked my dad, and he did the needful. So I didn't learn much on that end, and but yeah, I mean, we are still repaying the stuff. It's not cheap. Still in the phase to return all the money to the bank and all. But I would say ki if we are constantly in this mindset, na ki, okay, we have borrowed a lot of money, we have to get a mind or like a wonderful job and return all the money. This is something that just goes on missing. I mean, there are some well-paid jobs and there are some good jobs in our industry. So if your economic decisions tend to, what do you say, create a, I don't know, a convulsion in this line, it's a problem, man. It's a problem in long term. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can share, because I actually don't have much on that end. It was around 7 8, yeah, 7 8. But there's a very interesting aspect to this. I have returned the 50% from my internship. So yeah, that also, like, you get chance to, so this tenure of 2 years that you spend in any design college, right? It should not be, what do you say, wasted, like in trying to think, like thinking about minting money. Otherwise, there's no point to it, I would say. And there was this mentor of mine who was back there in my hometown, Amravati. He told me, कि, like, सीखने गए तो ताकत से सीख के लो. Like afterwards, you just have to earn money, right? Why do you think about this now? But I heard that, like, I listened to him, but I didn't really apply that, because when I was in symbiosis pursuing my bachelor's, it was a race. Oh, come on, I need to earn money quickly. So started taking a lot of freelance jobs, and when I did, my actual learning from college was much lesser. My energy was spent on the other aspect. So I don't think that's a very healthy practice in design. So yeah.
That's a wonderful point and a great suggestion you mentioned to the viewers who are watching this video. So thanks on that, Mandar. And let's talk about your hostel life and how
So
was it
I
in NID?
so NID doesn't have a hostel, by the way. In NID Bangalore, there's no hostel. There's a society like across the road. So there's this college, there's a society. Like, it's a big, what do you say? Like the ones we see in like movies and all, right? It was like that, and all 150 people stayed there. All of them, like, no exception. All of them just stayed there, except for the people who were localites. So we never really locked our doors. Like, anyone could like come, just go from anywhere. Actually, we had a pet, so we didn't need locking the door. So it was like the aspect of staying amongst these chaps, it's very interesting. So especially when we guys were the batch who saw the onset of lockdown, right, from February. So ours was the only house which had an RO purifier, and all of them, like they just used to take their bottles, come and let's go, have a chat, just come and go. So it was like a, what do you say, dharamshala sort of thing. Aao kabhi bhi pani bharo aur chale jao. But what happens with this type of culture is you never really stay in isolation, and that's very important. Once you started, I mean, myself, I was an introvert like earlier. So first year in NID, I tried to isolate myself, like as much as possible, and design in isolation. But that's just another name to insecurity, which I had to get over very quickly. As I told, I was thrashed twice in the jury, right? So I figured out, like I tried to think, why was this happening? So okay, let's get out of the isolation, let's socialize, let's talk to people, let's design in group, let's take feedbacks, let's contribute to others. So this collaboration aspect, it starts from what you say, hostel. I mean, where we all stay. uh, because we used to like, and there's an amazing culture in NID about sports. At least our batch saw that. We used to, like, no matter what happens, 5 o'clock we get out and we play. Like there were volleyball, there was table tennis, a variety of sports. It's just that's how in fact we bonded with our seniors also. So there was, otherwise there's no way that you get to know them really well. We just went, okay, whoever this person is, let's get this guy, talk and just socialize. And it was subconscious taking of feedbacks and opinions with them. When you consciously go ask, okay, tell me, criticize my design, tell me what I should do next in life, I mean, you don't really get honest opinions, or what do you say, viewpoints. They just talk and just, okay, this is done, get out now. But when we are playing or when we are socializing together, right, there's another aspect to it. It's just a small talk. It starts with a small talk, then we retain the concept next day in the next match that we are going to play. So that's how it happens. And yeah, and that's how in fact that's how we remember people, right? Like what interesting things that we had, that we did together. So yeah, that's how it
That's
goes.
wonderful, Mandar. In terms of converting yourself from an introvert to an extrovert, you said a really great point that design is never done in silos. It's all about collaboration. I feel it's
Yeah,
always, no matter whether you think yourself as an introvert or the other person, you have to be a great storyteller. For that, you have to come out and speak.
yeah, I mean, learn that the hard way, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's conclude this show by Manda, you sharing your journey, how you were before the design education, like pursuing at two different design schools, and how you are right now. If there's any contrast that you want to bring out.
As I multiple times mentioned before, mindset is the biggest thing that I achieved, like in these 6 years of design education. Then mindset and awareness, of course, I know the breadth. I assume that I know some breadth of things that can, like, that a designer can go to. Because after passing out from my first college, I knew, okay, this is graphic design. I was sort of limited in my perspective. But NID, not just NID, like people, talking to people who are into design, you get to know that there's there's another angle to it. There are different places a designer may be, what do you say, contributing. I wouldn't say employed, I would say contributing. There's a huge difference between the two terms. So if I would compare myself to the 6 years ago me, yeah man, like this, like, you know that you design like for 2 minutes, you think for 50 minutes, 1 hour. So that's the difference. Earlier it was this and that, now it is this and that. So there's much more, it's much more thought induced process. But again, uh, you yourself being a designer, you know that there's this process, like those checkpoints. Okay, research check, interviews check, brainstorming check. So I think I started with the same, but now I tend to read, I tend to explore different viewpoints. So reading is another thing that I developed. Earlier, I was a purely, what to say, Netflix person. Just to watch whatever it, just like parosta jo hai, like dekh lo, bas dekh lo. Don't be selective, just dekh lo. But now uh, I'm reading a lot, I'm traveling a lot, I'm meeting people a lot, I'm reflecting a lot. So this reflection aspect is very important. There are a lot of people amongst us who like go to parties, who socialize. They think that they are the, I mean, they're socializing, and they think that it's gonna help us. But it only does when you reflect that type of experiences in your work or in your life. That's important, and that's the biggest change that I'm seeing in myself after these 6 years. Like wherever we go, we are conscious. I'm more conscious in observing stuff, and it reflects into the experiences that we design. So yeah, that's the deeper insight. Other than that, a lot of things have changed. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Manda, for sharing all these wonderful insights. We are looking forward to host you again in our upcoming episodes.
Sure, anytime.